Welcome back to the garage. It's been brought to my attention that winter is happening again this year. Go figure. So I thought it might be a good opportunity to go over there to the scrap pile and pull the Jeep's heater out and see if it can be brought back. I probably should finish other projects that sidelined other projects and other projects and other projects and other projects before starting a new project. Maybe I should finish organizing before starting another project, but this is what happens. So, the new project. So the fan is about right where it was when I pulled it out and threw it over there in the corner. The switch was just no good. I guess it's a pull switch. Maybe it works, probably doesn't. And it does look like it is a 6-volt motor. Something tells me this isn't original. And the motor is still stuck, not because it seized or anything, but because of the big old dirt dauber nest stuck in here. So it's time to delete the wasps, take this thing apart, and let's see if anything's even still good in here. Doesn't really look like there's much to this. 6 of these screws. And I'll just hope they'll break loose and not snap. That would just add a layer of complexity to this that I don't want. Well, there's one. And 2. One more, come on. There you go. A little bit of heat, a little bit of oil. Knocks it right loose. I have no idea what this is. Some kind of asphalt or ruined rubber damping material to keep things from rattling. And we'll just dump all this into the trash can. And theoretically, this core should just slide right out. Fortunately, no one's home. Finally separated. And that needs a lot of cleanup. All right, here's our radiator section of the heater, or maybe the heater core. I don't know what you'd refer to it as. Both of the ends have a bit of a bulge on them. Now, I'm no expert, but I would assume that indicates that probably there was water left in this thing over some winter long ago. That might be a repair from the past right there. But I don't know what else to do other than fill it up with water and see if it leaks. Maybe clean it a little bit more. Well, I made a tactical error. I thought I would clean it first before checking for leaks. So it's a lot cleaner. The fins are a little bit less bent. Except now it's all wet, so I couldn't tell if there were leaks. So I'm going to set this aside and let it dry. Move on to the case. So really all that's holding the motor in looks to be this little ring here. Nope, this is not the way because the little fan blade won't come out. Learn from my mistake. It looks like you should probably take the blade off first. There's a set screw. I just kind of hope the blade comes off easy. There we go. Might have bent that slightly on the way out, but we'll make sure that's straightened up before it gets put back in. And there's our 6-volt motor and this funky, maybe this was rubber. It looks like plastic, but maybe it used to be rubber. Meanwhile, I've dried out this core here, and I've got it topped off both sides with water. So we'll see if that leaks and kind of judge from there. This isn't like the best example because this water isn't pressurized. If it was pressurized, yeah, it'd probably leak easier, but it's a quick test at least. Well, after leaving for a few hours to run some errands, that isn't looking good. You know, in another time, I could have taken this thing to a local heater shop or radiator shop, something like that, and they could have found the leak and patched it for me. But I don't know that there's really any of those in the area anymore. Since that's not working out, at the very least I can get some oddly satisfying media blasting in. Let's clean this guy up. So perhaps defying common sense, I did throw that heater core in the blasting cabinet and gave it a quick cleanup. But I was careful, check it out. Normally I'd have the thing right on the metal, but no, I was way out. Took a while, didn't stay long, but the surface has to be clean if I'm gonna attempt what I'm gonna attempt. So, you know, it's 2023. You can take stuff to shops, or you can go to this very website, YouTube, and you can look up how to do stuff. What a world we live in. I ordered this at like 7:45 last night after watching a couple of videos, and then 12 hours later, before I even got up for the morning, this was on my doorstep. Nice. So I need to find out where this is leaking. All I really can tell right now is that it is leaking, but I cannot see where it is leaking. And there was all this olive drab paint all over the bottom of it. And, you know, upon closer inspection, it really does, I mean, especially based on how these fins are all bent up, it kind of does look like this thing has had some repairs in the past, and it was leaking probably from somewhere around here. So I'm wondering if the leak I'm trying to hunt for that I couldn't see because it was just so grungy, See, I mean, I even left some of the olive drab right there. You can barely see it on top. But I'm wondering if maybe I can find the leak now and do a DIY repair. I mean, I've got a propane torch and I've got the flux and solder. Why not give it a go? Now the fun part begins. It's clean, it's dry, it's full of water, and it's capped off at this end. So with any luck, and maybe with another hose clamp, that'll hold and I can find where the water's coming from. This has got to be a past repair right there. It's hard to see between the fins. That bright light helps, but all right, easy mode disabled. We'll do what I had to do yesterday and just let it sit. Well, I lost a chunk of video. I don't know if you can see it there, but yeah, that's where it was leaking. The only place. So let me see if I can learn to solder real quick and solder that up. Too hot. Well, it's not the prettiest job. Might have made it worse. Well, it's kind of ugly, but I think it works. Well, it's ugly. And that's troubling. So I filled the original pinhole, but in heating it, I've accidentally blown out the side. Rookie mistake, probably. Let's try to carefully fix that. There, I think it's ugly, but that might be it. I'm such a perfectionist. I've got a few runs on there, but it's a hell of a lot better than a box of rust. I almost just left this bare. Would look nice polished up. Came out pretty clean. Well, per my usual, unnecessarily clean, especially for this thing, but back over here on the heater core, it would appear that my repair has failed. So let's revisit. Well, I didn't record, but second attempt, we're gonna recheck for leaks. I think that that cleaned up a hell of a lot better this time. Pro tip, because I'm an amateur and I'm just figuring this out, maybe empty the radiator before trying to heat it up, because it'll generate steam and that'll just blow out whatever you're trying to fix. Yeah, that's lesson learned. I'm still new at this, but I'm figuring it out. And now we just wait for the leak check. So in kind of interesting news, as it turns out, this fan is not as dead as I thought it was. If we connect direct to the battery, probably not ideal or recommended. The switch is on, but it's done for internally. But if we bypass it, it's about right there. Yep. It runs. Now it's a 6-volt fan on 12 volts, so that's it's probably not ideal. And the wiring situation is very, very bad. So, don't know what to do on this. It works. I don't know if it'd be a great idea to run it for a long period of time, but it's gonna be real hard to find a modern replacement for this in 12 volts. But I'll get on the CJ2A page and ask around, I guess. So I think I've come up with a blower motor solution. The 6-volt one, while it works, has some really bad wiring, and I don't really feel like tearing this apart and rewiring it. But Napa makes one of these. I'll link it in the description below if anyone's interested. The screws on here are just way too long. I'm gonna have to hack those off, and the shaft is about 1 inch too long. I'm gonna have to trim that down. It also came with this little aluminum looking collar that'll have to be taken off so this will work. It also spins clockwise, and it needs to spin counterclockwise. Fortunately, this motor is reversible, so if I can get over the red versus black wiring being backwards, it'll work fine. Now, as far as switches go, I started to take this one apart. It's probably shot on the inside. I can probably clean it up and make it function again, but what I don't have is a knob for it, and without a knob, that's going to be kind of difficult to use. What I do have is this. I picked this up from a local guy who was getting rid of some parts. Same guy I got the transmission case from, actually. And I've already cleaned up the inside. It should function, but it's a headlight switch, 2-position switch. So I'll just kind of have to pick one and make that work. But it's fused, so that's kind of a bonus. And theoretically, that will do what I need it to do. Red is ground. This is fine. Well, now with everything prepped, we can begin final reassembly. Well, the original rubber has disintegrated. No big surprise, it wasn't really fitting anyways. But this alone won't fit. So what is plan B? Plan B is a strip of Gorilla Tape, folded in half, and spun around here twice. Let's see how that works. And I actually ended up having to go back and add a third loop to that. Good thing I made some extra tape. That should do it. I actually went back to plan A because this tape just would not stay put. Maybe there would have been a better solution, but I went back to the broken thing, wedged in there, and that'll probably hold it because the fan needs to sit really low in this. One, so it'll clear that little brace back there, but two, so it won't actually hit the heater core. So I think that's about as close as we're gonna get. For anyone still watching, I would say that this is a little bit more tight of a fit than you might think. This blade has got to be locked down at the very bottom of this, and you got to tighten that down very well with that set screw, because if it falls, it doesn't take much for it to start hitting this bracket. And that fan needs to be about as just barely into the housing as it gets. Then you got to make sure it doesn't drop a millimeter. With all that together, let's get this heater core in. Make sure we're not hitting anything. We aren't. And just like the other side, it has this little tab on it. This is what the blade was hitting on the other side. It probably won't hit on this side, but this is kind of what holds that heater core in place. So let's get that lined up. Something like that. Now there was some kind of asphalt on either side of that, I guess as a damper material of some kind. This thing is pretty solid though, it's not moving, so I think I'm okay. I've already gone through with a file and I have smoothed down the material on this one corner. I believe this is where the ground was. And I've also cleaned up one screw a little bit better so it can have the potential to ground. And there we have it. The heater is fully reassembled. It should be leak-free at this point. It looks amazing, which is, of course, sad because no one will ever see it, because it will be tucked away up under the dash. Something like that. But let's go ahead and give it one more powered test, just to make sure. You know how unfair life can be? I was looking for a proper scrap binium ground to hook up to the corner of this to put it on the battery, and what did I find? This, an old rubber coupling from a Honda Civic project that no longer exists. And that is just about the exact size that I would need to replace this. Go figure. I might still swap it out, but not for this video. Back over here at the flat fender workbench, I've got a ground wire over here to the chassis of the heater, which is what's going to be its ground anyways. I've got my makeshift fan switch here, cleaned up enough internally and externally that it should function. So let's see what we got. Contact. I actually did not intend for that to be a high-low switch, but it seems like I've accidentally made one. So that's just an added bonus. The airflow through it's not too terrible. Not bad. Well, thanks for watching. This was a fun little project to do during what we here in Arkansas refer to as fake winter number 1, while it did get down to freezing a couple days. As you can see behind me, it's beautiful weather again. It's like 72 or 73 today, so it's perfect driving weather, which is good because I did kind of run the battery down a little bit in the Jeep while testing this, so it's a good time to go jump start it and drive it around a little bit. And all of this was academic anyways, to be honest, given that I don't have a full top for the Jeep. The utility of this little tow heater is somewhat limited anyways, but it was a fun little project just to take something that was kind of written off from the beginning for me personally and to bring it back into functioning shape, and maybe it'll inspire one of you to do the same. You sure don't have to make it look pretty like I did, but you can make one functional again. It really isn't that difficult. So thanks again, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye for now.